it's just there's definitely always like a little bit of a voice in the back of my head where I'm just like, am I too much for that?
Hi, and welcome to the Queer Vision. I'm one of your co-hosts, Becca, and this is
Koe,
of
Star, Koe of
Kanekalon.
Kanekalon, Koe, whatever you want to call me, girl.
Koe, cool. Today we sat down with Jula. She is amazing. She's originally from Germany, moved here about 15 years ago, and she tells us about her experiences growing up a little bit with her art, which is amazing, and she hand draws everything, even the lettering. Yeah, you're gonna want to hear this conversation. It flows really, really well. So get a snack, sit down, and listen.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Queer Vision
Thank you
podcast.
so much for having me.
Of course. If you want to just introduce yourself to the audience, give them a little blurb about you and just, yeah, your name and pronouns, all that fun stuff.
Sure. So my name is Jule. Last name is Cook. I am a German native that has lived in the US for 15 years now, I think. I am a hand letterer and illustrator, and I'm based in Clayton, North Carolina. Pronouns are just she, her. Sometimes they, depending on how I feel.
So, yeah, we were just reading a little bit, looking at your website before the
Hmm.
meeting, and honestly, I just have to say, like, the whole aesthetic, I love. I'm
It's
obsessed with. It's
adorable.
so cute.
Thank
How
you.
did how did that like come about for you? Was it just like playing around with colors, or did you kind of have a vision in mind that you were going
That
for?
is, oh my gosh, that is a really great question. I think it just kind of happened. I am what I like to call a chaotic creative because I just kind of do things and then I see them and I'm kind of like, oh my God, this is exactly what I wanted it to look like. Cool. So we're just gonna go with that. That's usually how that goes for me. The website itself also, I because I'm a chaotic creative, I kind of do a little bit of everything. So I have designed websites before, and because I kind of grew up when computers and like, AOL chat and all that kind of stuff first came to be, I've always really been into that stuff, just figuring things out.
Mm-hmm.
And with this particular website, it kind of all became a thing because I really wanted to change my business name to Das Letterhaus. And once I kind of like had my business name, I just kind of had more of a vision of what I wanted it all to be.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was kind of just like, meh, I'm just going to do a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And I just had my name was literally Jule Cooke Creations, which is the least creative name you could possibly come up with for an artistic business. Um, and so once I had my business name, it just kind of like rolled all into this is what I want the website to look like. This is what I want just the vibe to be. But in general, colors are good. So
Yeah,
that's kind of how it kind of all started, I guess.
That's adorable.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I
Thank you
love
so much.
I love hearing that too, because like I definitely when we were like writing down our titles,
Yeah.
Rebecca put me as the chaos coordinator.
Oh, I love
Um,
it. Yeah.
and very real. I'm very like a chaotic creative as well.
Yeah.
I also feel like that's just I don't know. I have a fun way of looking at creativity, and I really believe it does come from somewhere else a lot of times. So I feel like sometimes it just kind of drops in, and you choose whether you want to run with it or not.
Absolutely.
Um, so it's nice to like meet other people that also function the same way.
I definitely do. I mean, I actually just listened to I actually just listened to your last episode, and like the entire time I'm like trying to like kind of get ready so I look not like a complete, chaos. And I like every time I was just like, yes, that's exactly how I feel. So I
So
love
right.
that. I really I'm the same way. Like when I meet people that just kind of vibe like that, and like you kind of also almost always tell almost immediately. Like I don't know if you remember how we met, Becca, but it was at the Festival of Legends.
Mhm.
And the way that you were standing in front of me and just like telling me about your own organization, I was just like, she is so cute. And I literally was just like, of course, yes, I will absolutely, fill out all of the things on the website and everything. I was just like, yes, I want to talk to her. Like I just immediately was like, yes, that is one of those people that I want to know.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
I saw your booth. I was like walking around Festival of Legends, and I remember looking at my boyfriend and my booth partner, and I was like, I did not realize how many queer people would be here, but
Yeah,
I'm not mad about it.
neither was I. That was the first time I did it too, and it was the same for me. I had an inkling that it might be more in the queer realm, and like because nerds, sorry, words are hard sometimes. Nerds in general, I feel like um come out more than people, because like it's almost like they're already had to come out in one way or another.
Real.
And so like I was kind of like hoping that that was like, and obviously it was an assumption, but I was really hoping that I was going to be right with that, and I really was not disappointed because I loved it, and like the people, the vibe, everything was just chef's kiss. Honestly, it was great.
Yeah, it's an amazing festival.
Yeah,
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
thank you.
I'm really glad you filled this out because it's
Yeah,
your page is so freaking adorable. Like whenever Chloe pulled it up, I was just like, "Aw,
thank you.
it's so pretty."
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. I was vending at out Raleigh 2 weeks ago, and somebody just walked into the booth and just said, "Girl, I just love your vibe. I love the branding. Like, how did you do it?" And I was just standing there like, I don't know. I was just me. I'm just a
I just
doofus, and
did
this is
it.
what I do.
Yeah, it is such like even like in these podcast episodes, I feel like it's such a funny thing to like be like, okay, now tell us every like
Yeah,
just like tell us how it happened. And I know
right.
that as a creative, even asking that question sometimes I'm like, I need to reframe that because honestly, it is like that.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it's
really
just
is.
part of you. Yeah.
I know. And I'm like always, and like, I'm not even kidding you when I say that I may or may not have had a little bit of a practice conversation too, because I'm like, what do I just talk about? I don't even know what to talk about. This is just why am I interesting? Like, why is this even a thing? So,
Well,
love
we
it.
definitely think that everybody has a story, and I
Mhm.
think everybody their story is boring to them because
Yeah.
they lived it, right? Like
Yeah.
even the most crazy, like
Mhm.
adventurous person is gonna be like, yeah, it's life, whatever,
That's a
Yeah.
And so like first off, you're interesting enough no
thank
matter
you.
what.
Thank you.
But also, I mean, I think it's from our perspective, it's
Hmm.
so fun hearing like just the little tiny nuances from every single person.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
it is very amazing. But while we were on your website, we saw that you are from Germany. You said
I
that you
sure
moved
am.
quite a few years ago.
Yeah.
Um, tell us a little bit about that. Why'd you move here? Like your
Yeah.
experience there versus here, anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, I was born and raised. I really just don't sound like a German. I've never really had well, that's actually not true because I had a British accent for the longest time because we learned British English in school.
Mm.
Um, but okay, I'm like trying to think where to start because it really started quite a while ago. So I was about, I don't know, 15, 16 years old. My high school, very, very small town, and I'm talking like maybe 10,000 people in the northwestern part of Germany. Um, had an exchange program to a high school in Norfolk, Virginia. And I was really into anything that had to do with the US at the time. I think this was around 2005. I was like mildly obsessed, and I would not kidding, I would watch like the MTV stuff in English because
Mhm.
that was like one of the only things that in German television would actually be in like native language with subtitles.
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, so I was really obsessed with America, and I was like, oh, I will just try it. And it was actually luck of the draw. And my dad was just kind of like, oh yeah, just go ahead and apply. He was probably thinking it's not going to happen anyways because there's going to be hundreds of other people who are trying to get to it as well. And I was the first person that was drawn. So
Cool.
I was on an exchange program for about 3 weeks in Norfolk, Virginia. I loved it so much that when I graduated high school in 2007, I didn't want to go to university right away. And I was like, you know what? I just want to spend an entire year in the US. Just kind of like, is it actually what I think it is? Or is this just like the honeymoon phase slash,
Mhm.
tourist kind of thinking? And so I applied doing that. And the family that oh, sorry, I should say it was an au pair program that I applied for.
Okay.
So it's a live-in nanny that usually comes from Europe or any country really. So I applied for that, and I was matched with a family in Garner, North Carolina. So
Oh.
just outside of Raleigh, actually really close to where I live now, which is really insane, honestly. It's just a whole circle. And it was a single dad with 4 kids. They're all grown now, which makes me feel extremely old. But in that time frame, I actually just like the first 6 months, I want to say I was kind of like a hermit. I just hung out with like one other au pair friend, and I was like, it was really strange because it wasn't really me. Because I'm not really, I mean, I am, but I also am not. I'm like very much an introverted extrovert.
Mhm.
And, or actually the other way around, extroverted introvert. But didn't really do a whole lot because also I was 20 years old. I couldn't actually go out and really drink, even though I've had
Mhm.
done it in Germany for so long. I don't know. It just was for the longest time didn't really do anything. And then all of a sudden, I met this other au pair, and she's like, "Oh, we just make fake IDs. That's just what we do." And I'm like, "What do you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What do you mean? Like what?" And because I'm a I don't remember the English phrase, but I am a rule follower if there's ever been a rule follower. Like I
Mm.
don't cross the street when the light is red. Can't do it. It's just in my blood. I don't know. But anyway, so she made me do it anyways because she really wanted me to go out and like meet all of these people that she's met. And it was this for like I think it's now Crank Arm it is now Crank Arm Brewery. There used to be a club there called White Collar Crime, and that was the place that we used to go to. And I'm not kidding you when I say that that was my awakening in every sense of the word, in every aspect of the world. I finally was like, oh yeah, you totally are not just a straight person. You love everything and it doesn't fucking matter what it is. And it just, I really don't know what it was, but it just really made me feel myself.
Mhm.
At a very young age, honestly, because like at 20, like when can you actually say that at 20 that you feel that way? And I met at that bar my now husband.
Aw.
Um, and yeah, so that year kind of ended, unfortunately. And we were in kind of like this relationship where it was like, meh, like it's not really realistic to think that we can have a relationship across the pond. And there wasn't really a way for me to stay in the US legally. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go back. And he was like, cool, you're gonna go back. And we were just like, works out for us. So there was really no strings attached or anything. But um, I went back to Germany for a little bit and then just realized that I absolutely did not vibe with that environment anymore. Like it was like I love that country, I really do. And I think for me it was that I felt like I had grown so much in just that one little year.
Mhm.
Like I had no more connection to the people that I was friends with before. Like it was just almost like they had just been still in the same environment, like they hadn't
Mhm.
really experienced a whole lot. I mean, they had, like they went on to go to university, like they were doing other things, but I was just like, wow, you guys are exactly the same. Like there's nothing changed about you. And I really got very depressed when I was there. And I have to say that my dad really was the person that was able to make it happen for me to come back.
Mhm.
Because going to school here as an out of state slash international student is the most expensive thing you could possibly think about.
Yeah.
So I want to say I was back in Germany for about 6, 7 months. And then I permanently moved here in 2009. At the time, wasn't supposed to be permanent, but that's how it ended up, basically. So that's kind of how I stayed here because then my now, like I said, my now husband and I just rekindled our relationship. And even though he was just like, oh, we'll just see, like, I don't really necessarily want you to move in, but I moved in
Yeah.
immediately. And it just kind of, I really don't know. Like it all just kind of happened more so than me making super specific decisions of what's gonna happen. Like I made a decision and was hoping for things, and then luckily all of that really worked out well for me.
I
That's why
think,
I'm now here.
yeah. Honestly, like I love the way like that little piece that you added at the end about like, you weren't really calculated, you were
No.
kind of just like moving with what felt right.
Yes.
And I think that's where a lot of people, and I've even found myself like we get caught up in wanting to have an exact route or an
Hmm.
exact calculated path
Yeah.
when really all we need to do is like move with
Yes.
inspiration and what feels right,
Mhm.
Absolutely.
and it's going to stick or it's not going to stick. The more
Yeah.
time that you spend thinking, oh, is this the right decision? Is this the right decision? you're just going to stay stagnant. And I feel
Yeah.
like so many people do that.
Absolutely.
But
I
That
don't
is
see
yeah.
it. I feel like it's
yeah,
fear.
Mhm.
crazy. Absolutely. Yeah, for me it was kind of like I I wasn't like I mean, when I first went back, I was really quite depressed because it just all felt so stagnant and like just stuffy. It felt like stuffy air, which is just a really weird way to describe things, but that's what it felt like. Like I
Mhm.
had a hard time breathing and I just couldn't really focus on what my future in Germany would look like. Like I don't know, it just I felt like I was in the wrong place. Like that's really what it was. It's not
Mhm.
like I didn't like anybody. Like I love my family. I'm
Yeah.
still in touch with a lot of the friends that I was friends with in high school, but like I just didn't belong anymore.
Yeah.
It was just like it just didn't feel like my place anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like I
Which
have a similar experience to that because I mean, obviously not countries, but
yeah.
I grew up in Ohio, and
Hmm.
whenever I knew I wanted to move, I didn't know where I wanted to go. I just kind of threw a dart, put in some applications, ended up here.
Yeah.
And like now going back, like I love it, and I like have that nostalgia factor, and like I miss people and I want to see them, but it does feel very like stuck in the past, even though it's
Yeah.
growing and
Of
there's
course.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, there's people there that are doing so much stuff. I'm like, my friends from high school are doing the same things, but they're not, but they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
Absolutely.
I see what you're saying about that
Mhm.
world that you feel like that wasn't your world. It wasn't your future. And
Yeah.
so it feels like it's pulling you back and suffocating you
It
when you try
really,
to do
yeah.
those
That's a great, yeah, it really was like that. That's, yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild, like looking back on it, because again, I'm just like, I think what I've learned from like just doing that and also like immigrating to a different country is just, I've always just went with what my gut was kind of like feeling. And I've gone really well with that for the most part.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's always some situations where that didn't work out, but for big things, I just went with my gut and I was like, you know what? That's what feels right. And
Mhm.
I've never really allowed myself to not change. Like for me, like it's okay to change your mind and like change your opinions or whatever it is because it's like you're moving. Like everybody's moving. There's new information every day. And like if you're not letting yourself use the new information and like make a new opinion, like what's even like to me, what's even the point?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I would
yeah.
agree. Like evolution is so like
Yes.
just evolving as a human is so important.
I'm surprised you haven't talked about Big Magic because I feel like this
I
is
was
a
about to
very
talk about Big Magic, but then I didn't. Are
That's
you familiar with the book Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert?
I am not, but I am going to write that down right now.
Yes, you should.
Because I
It's
love
like
reading.
my creative Bible almost. And I used to I brought it up a lot in the beginning podcast, and I haven't talked about it in a while, but the way that you even like look at creativity in the world seems
Mhm.
really similar to that. I don't know. She talks a lot about, I don't know, just like art coming from almost a different place and there being kind of like this relationship that you have with creativity, almost as if it's like a relationship you would have with another person.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, I don't know, it's just a really enlightening viewpoint,
Love it.
and talks a lot about like, change and those kind of things. I don't know
Mhm.
why I'm blanking so much on it right now.
the thing that reminded me the most about what you said and what you've said in the past, because I've read one chapter and I swear to God I'm going to keep reading it, but I just keep getting distracted by all the other books in the
For real.
world. Is the that there are like just like thoughts and ideas like floating out there, and they're
Hmm.
going to come to you, and if you don't grasp them when they happen, somebody else is going to end up with it because the
Hmm.
Yeah.
idea wants to happen. It doesn't just want to sit there.
Yeah.
It's more like looking at us like a conduit, and less of like we are in control of the art, I
Yeah.
guess, which also takes away some of the internal pressure that I feel like a lot of artists feel to like, oh, I have to meet this
The
criteria and
imposter
this, yep,
syndrome.
and the
Yeah.
imposter syndrome and all of
Oh
that.
my God. I have imposter syndrome so bad it's not even funny.
So how do you manage that then? Because I mean, you
Oh,
do have a creative business. So like how do
yeah.
you how do you either talk yourself out of it or like work through it?
To be honest with you, really, first of all, I really have to say my husband is just he's my biggest support. Like he really, it's like such a cliche, but like he really is one of my biggest supporters, and he just he really doesn't understand why I feel that way because like sometimes I'll like show him like a new sticker design or whatever. And I will literally be nitpicking about like two or three lines on the thing, and he just looks at me and just goes, "What are you talking about?" Like, what is even happening right now? And so then he kind of like sees me spiral and he literally just like pulls me right out of it because he's like, okay, listen, first of all, you've done this for a while now. Obviously, people like your stuff. You sell things. It's okay. You're good. Like, it's so pep talking from him really, really gets me out of it. Um, really talking to other creatives really, really, really helps, especially if they are also have an ADHD brain, because I think for me, I'm undiagnosed ADHD, but one, I really want to get diagnosed because for some reason I just feel like it would make things easier for me. But just looking at, symptoms and stuff like that, I feel very much like that is a thing for me. Um, so talking to other people that struggle with this, with like similar things of that, because I cycle through depression quite a bit. And when I'm more depressed, the imposter syndrome is even like worse and almost impossible to really get out of. But yeah, so just talking to other people really helps. Therapy really helps as well. Learning about just telling yourself reality of things. So I guess pep talking myself also really helps. I'm trying to think what else I do. I really sometimes I just dwell in it, but
Oh,
I try not to. I really just try to talk myself out of it for the most part. But he really helps. My friends really help. Other creative friends that I have really really help. Um, but man, it's a strange thing to deal with
Yeah.
because like people sometimes I literally find myself being surprised when people come to me with questions because I am an expert at something. See, I'm doing this, I'm an expert, I'm not, I'm an expert at something, and I just don't get it sometimes because I'm just like, why are you asking me? Like, I
mhm,
don't know, I'm just winging things. But I do sometimes then go, oh no, you actually do know, you're good.
mhm,
So
yeah.
I try to really lock into the moments where I catch myself being like, oh no, you do know what you're doing. You are an
Mhm.
artist, you know?
It's like that cognitive reframing.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's something that I've dealt with a lot too personally. And honestly, all the same things you said is what always
Yeah.
helps me. Like
Yeah.
my partner, talking to other people. I think it's really like when you get out of yourself, because I feel like when you're in
Mhm.
those headspaces, you're so in yourself and you're thinking
Yeah.
about yourself more than anything. So like
Yeah.
that's why I find like markets have always been so like I feel like every time we do a market, it
Yes.
reminds both of us like why we're doing this and why it is
Yes.
important. Because we'll get in a rut and then we'll do a market and we just talk to so many different people and of so many different walks of life and it's like wow,
Yeah, I
yeah,
agree. Markets are
100%.
fantastic for that. You're
Yeah.
right. That is 100%.
I feel like this is the sign for everybody out there who goes to markets or sees artists to go to their table and
Mhm.
say, I love your work, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Because I think we all need to hear that. And like, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like we've all had imposter syndrome in some way or
Mhm.
another. I mean, I think the best thing for me whenever we have some form of imposter syndrome with our business is like just talking to each other. Because I
Yeah.
think one of us will have a conversation with somebody that'll make a difference and
Absolutely.
reframe our brains. Yeah. And like sometimes it won't hit like I feel like Koei will hear something from one of the queens and she'll just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, okay. And then like tell me and I'll be like, oh my God, or like vice versa.
Yeah.
And I think just like seeing the people that consistently come up to your booth too. Like we've only done this for what, 7, 8 months,
Mhm.
and having like 3 booths, people
Yeah.
come up and like, oh my God, I remember you from this. I'm like, what?
I
Yeah.
know. That is such a that's like I literally start like so I think I've been does Letterhaus since 2023, so that's about 2 years now.
Mhm.
And I think I did my first Pride event that year, which I think was either Apex or Raleigh Pride. I really don't one of the two. I think I might have been two.
Mhm.
But last year, for the first time, I did Durham Pride. And I am not kidding you when I say that I saw 4 people that were wearing my t-shirts with that little rainbow raccoon that I have. That is
I
Oh,
love
it's
that.
my bestseller. And but like seeing it on someone that I personally like, if I would have just seen them, I would have never remembered, right? But because they're
Mhm.
wearing my shirt, I'm not kidding when I say I almost cried because it was just
Mhm.
so validating. And like they're just like walking around and they're just like, yeah, you made this. And I'm like, oh, so it's just beautiful. And like like that to me is, and honestly, that's really my goal with the things that I make is just to like carry happiness out there and just like, you know, like, I don't know, like I don't really know how to phrase it into words, but happiness is the thing for sure. I love it when I see people just being like, oh my God, like I bought this like 2 years ago. It's my favorite thing. I wear it every day or whatever. Um, I just love it. I just absolutely love seeing people looking at designs and then squeaking, like squealing people when they
Yeah.
see certain stickers. I'm
Mhm.
just, it's beautiful. Like I
Mhm.
absolutely love it. So yeah.
Also, like kind of off topic but on topic. So you, for anyone who doesn't know, you hand draw and write everything
Yes.
yourself, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Oh
Everything.
wow.
So sometimes, so the raccoon is actually a really great example because I was obsessing over him so much. And this final, like, let's just go for with the sticker, like the final sticker design, that's probably the fifth or sixth version of it because when I first made him, I also had lettering underneath him that just said
Mhm.
gay and trashy, which I think is one of my favorite phrases with a raccoon.
I love
Yep.
But
that.
it made the sticker, like himself, almost not so dominant. And
Mm.
so
Mm.
then I just changed it to him literally just holding the rainbow flag. But yeah, so every single detail, like there's, if you really look at the actual design, there's little strokes that you see because I either do things like by hand just on different canvases and mediums, or stickers and t-shirt designs are usually drawn on the iPad. But because iPads are amazing these days, it's literally like you're literally just sitting there doing this. And
Mhm.
I think the raccoon took me like, I think it's like a 12-hour piece because I just, the detail on it is insane because I'm insane when it comes to detail.
Love that
um
though.
but that's, I think that's also, I do have some things that are a little bit like simpler, not quite as detailed, but
Mhm.
when I tell people at the booth also, like, yeah, everything's hand drawn, it's completely, done by hand. The amount of people that are surprised by that still surprises me for some reason,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's always a good point of conversation because people, I guess also especially like now with AI and all that kind of stuff, it just, the market is really flooded with a lot
AI
of the
art.
same stuff and AI.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I guess when they see things that are actually still made by like one, like just by hands, um I think that does still surprise people to
Mhm.
hear when I tell
I
them that.
I think also when it comes to like lettering too, because I
Yeah.
think lettering is one of those things that like a lot of us can excuse and be like, oh, like let me just use a font, you know?
Yep.
And so I feel like to be like, no, I'm gonna handwrite my letters is something that is really commendable and is
Thank
starting
you.
to dissipate more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with like Canva. I feel like a lot of people, even
Oh
going back
gosh,
to the
yeah.
point of like art and stuff like that, I think a lot of people, because of Canva
Mhm.
existing, can be like, oh well, let me just take this picture of a raccoon that already exists and
Yep.
take it in here and then put some words in. So I feel like it would be so easy to create a not authentic version of what you
Right.
have.
Mhm.
Um, that like people are just shocked. Like they're like, oh
Yeah.
my god, like
Yeah.
people still draw?
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
people
absolutely.
do still draw.
Yeah. So in my like little vendor friend group, it's actually, we always make a joke out of it because we usually like attend markets and vendor events that are like very like they're even marketed as like handcrafted and handmade. And then when people come into our booth and be like, "Wait, you draw all of this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's like it's the whole point,
That's
you
what it's
know?"
called.
So yeah, it's funny. But I guess I do understand why people are still surprised sometimes. I also, for me, I have a lot of product, and I think also just the amount of like science that I bring to places, I think also surprises people because they're like,
Mhm.
when do you have time to do this? I don't know. Somehow I make it happen. It's
So
usually panic drawing.
Yeah,
real.
yeah. So is this your
Oh,
full time thing, or do
no,
you
it's
have?
not.
Okay.
I actually work for Trader Joe's.
Okay,
Oh,
per.
Yep. Yep,
we like
that's
Trader
also where
Joe's.
the lettering started because this is my 11th year at Trader Joe's, and I like the first 3 years I was just a regular crew member. And then I realized that so every Trader Joe's has artists on staff that make every
Mm.
single sign in the store by hand. And I've always been really creative. I've always really liked that. I've always been not kind of, I've always been obsessed with my handwriting. So I one day just asked my boss, I'm like, hey, how do I get that gig over there? And she was like, well, it's really difficult to get into because usually the people that have been doing it for quite a while, and there's obviously not enough work for 20 people to do stuff. So it just happened to be that one of the artists that we had decided to go to a different store and move away. And then my boss was like, okay, let's see your handwriting. And she really liked what she saw. And so from that point forward, I just really started learning actual lettering, not just handwriting, because a lot of people are always like, oh, your handwriting is so great. And I'm like, actually, it's not. And the lettering itself, so I always like to tell people there's also two different kinds of lettering, right? One is calligraphy, and then the hand lettering is technically the drawing of letters, so where you really like draw up the shapes of the letter and all that kind of stuff. Oftentimes they overlap a little bit because sometimes you can, do your hand lettering based on calligraphy techniques. Gosh, I so much.
Same.
The But yeah, so really the drawing of letters is really what I learned. And then I also have one of my coworkers who was actually trained as a sign painter, as a traditional sign painter, which I know have kind of also become popular again. So I learned a lot from her. So I know how to, well, sort of also do things, manipulate things with just the paintbrush and do like more traditional sign painting that way too. So yeah, I honestly, Trader Joe's, just as moving to the US has really changed my life, because I think if I wouldn't have gotten into that, I wouldn't have really found the passion that I have for lettering. Um, and this business wouldn't exist because I was creative before, I was drawing before, but it really knocked it out of the park for me. Like it really just bloomed into what I wanted the art to be like, I guess.
You're
Yeah.
gonna have to read Big Magic because
Yeah.
she also talked about this too, about how you shouldn't put like so much pressure on your creativity, and like she talked about like one of the biggest mistakes that she feels a lot of artists make is like trying to make their art their full-time career, even if they can, because it adds that stress. And when you make the art always pay the bills,
Yep.
then now your relationship is imbalanced almost. And even speaking from my own personal experience, it's so funny and like just interesting to hear other people have that experience of like finding a job. I work at a little coffee shop in
Yeah.
Raleigh, and honestly, starting Queer Alina, even half the people that we pulled for like vendor markets and like pulled to even pull everything together was from this coffee shop.
Yeah.
So it's like just having those connections with people and really
Absolutely.
listening to people, learning what you can from people
Yeah.
is so important. And it sounds
I
like that's something that you really do throughout your whole life.
love it. I love learning from people.
Love pink.
I think probably one of the like, I don't know why this comes up right now, but I grew up in a town that was very white. There was not a lot of diversity in any shape or form. My oldest brother was literally the first gay person that anybody in our neighborhood knew, because he was the first person to actually like come out, and like wasn't like, he was kind of scared about it, but he eventually was just like, you know what? F it. I'm just going to do it. Everybody's just going to know. It'll be whatever. Um, and I am not kidding when I say that I did not see a black person for a really long time in my life. And it was like, to me, learning about that and just actually like learning, like my absolutely 100% inherent racism, and just like really unlearning a lot of things too, is just, I love learning. Like I really, really do. And like from other people in particular. And I learned a lot, so it's just, I don't know. I feel like my life has been a bunch of changes and learning from people for the most part, but I also really enjoy it that way.
And also, like, props to you for being like just acknowledging like the inherent racism
Oh
too.
my God,
I feel
yes.
like that's a thing that can be hard for some people for some reason, and I feel like it really shouldn't be, because especially when you grow up in an area like that, like I kind of had, even growing up in the South, I grew up in Northeast Tennessee, so
Yeah,
very, very white, very uncultured, the same kind of
yeah,
people, and a lot of racist dialects, really,
yeah,
honestly. And so even like the unconditioning of that within myself, I feel like, I was like, okay, well, I've always been like more liberal, and like I have always seen people as people, but there's still things
Mhm.
that like I thought was okay
Mhm.
because everybody else in the community made it seem that way. And
Absolutely.
and so
That
unlearning that is so important.
Yeah, absolutely, like 100%. And like all of the things that you don't even really realize, like,
Mhm.
so I think the most like diversity that we had were refugees from Turkey at the time, and then we also had a lot of refugees from like former Soviet Union stuff when that all everything just fell apart. My family, by the way, is from East Germany, so like I actually,
Mhm.
if that has like if the wall never came down, I would never even be here. Like those things are so monumental to me that I'm just like, what is like it honestly impresses me. But um and I remember, like, distinctly remember, I think maybe that's also part of it. Is I remember a lot of things that I feel like people shouldn't be remembering from, 20 years ago when I was in like third grade. And one of
Mhm.
my friends at the time was making fun of one of the Turkish people from us. And like she would bring flatbread to school and would like share it with people. And I love food. I am such a sucker
Cute.
for food. And it's like the more different, the better. Let me try it. Let me try all
Mhm.
of that. And I remember taking a piece from her and I was just eating it. And she literally was like, ew, you eat that? And I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, you don't know, is it even clean? And I'm like, I was literally just like, what are you even talking about? Like,
Mhm.
what? And like, I don't know if my parents have like brought us up to never, like, I don't ever remember having like an actual conversation about that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Oh, nobody's different from you. But like, I've always felt like there's this inherent fairness gene in me that I didn't like it when anybody was just treated differently for whatever reason. Like, I didn't really
Mhm.
care about that. And I know that my brothers are like that too. Like, my middle brother literally would get into fights with people because they were making fun of one of the disabled people in school. Like he literally got picked up by the police one day because he punched somebody else and broke their nose when they were bullying a handicapped person in a wheelchair, and he absolutely hated it. So I really don't know where that really like comes from, but obviously that we just always kind of felt that way.
Mhm.
Maybe it's also because technically we were immigrants from, well, immigrants, I really wouldn't want to say that because we're still German and all that good stuff, but we moved from East Germany to West Germany where I then grew up. So like maybe we were othered anyways for a little bit, but
Yeah.
um yeah, I don't know. So for me, it's that's always been a driving factor into learning from other cultures, learning from other people, unlearning all of the crap that I have, witnessed and had been accepted as being okay. Just like what you say, it's like when people say it around you and you're like 15 years old, you're like, hell yeah, you're like, it's they say it, so I can say
Mhm.
it, you know?
Yeah, that's always interesting. I think one of my favorite things is like the psychology of why people do things that they do,
Mhm.
right? And so like it's always intriguing. Like obviously, if your dad is really really mean to Black people, you are going to see that, normalize that, and probably do similar things. So you're going to have to like bring that out, right? You're going to have to
Sure.
fix that yourself.
Yeah.
But like it's intriguing to me. Like even in the United States, we have so much different like how we grew up. So like
Mhm.
somebody that grew up in Chicago is going to have a way different experience than like Coey and I growing up in small town like Midwest and South, right?
Yeah.
But now like you have me thinking here like, oh, I wonder how different it is like in Germany and different countries and stuff like that. I mean, I guess like Germany and us, we kind of have like somewhat of a similar path
Oh,
ish.
absolutely. Hmm.
Um, yeah, more so lately. And
Sorry, the way you just slid that in. Let's.
sorry.
Don't apologize. I would 100% agree with you.
Oh yeah, I figured you would. Um, I don't know who wouldn't, but anyway, I don't know. I just like I
Well.
feel like it's intriguing to like see the parallels. Like you lived so far away from us,
Mhm.
and
Hmm.
yet you're saying the same things. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that it was slightly different. Like the way that the racism, the way that the sexism, homophobia, and all that stuff like comes out is probably a little bit different because your system is different, right?
Oh,
But
absolutely.
it still affects us in such a deep way without even realizing it. It's just
Mhm.
it's just crazy to hear that now. Like
Hmm.
now I'm just thinking about
Just
people in different
yeah, to
countries.
like realize the
Yeah.
interconnectedness of like the whole world
Yeah, like
that
I'm
we
like, oh,
all
this is an
kind of.
America problem. This is an Ohio problem. This is a North Carolina problem. And it's really not.
It
Yeah.
really isn't. And that's also like a really great like point because like here right now everybody is, well, not everybody, but it's just really kind of crazy to see that we're all going through kind of the same thing and like kind of the same. I don't even want to call it a shift because I don't believe that's what it is, but the fact that we have to deal with the Cheeto in charge again and all of the crap that he's coming out with, like especially personally from my German perspective, I am so scared and I was so like, holy crap, why is no, like, why does nobody see this? Like, why are
Mhm.
we not, on the streets nonstop trying to, do this and like trying to like protest, whatever it is? Because when I was a kid and we were going to school, I'm not kidding you, we were drilled the the Nazi stuff in history class every single year. And like that is a thing that we talked about nonstop. And I always just remember, thinking, well, if it would happen to me, this is not like I would never let that happen.
Yeah.
And then just also realizing it's almost not almost, it's very cult like, it's like,
Mhm.
excuse me, it's like you don't even realize that it's happening and it's just like kind of slowly just kind of creeping in and then things are being made okay to say and and it's just like, oh, he's just having a bad day, whatever it is. um but what's crazier to me now is that the same thing is happening in Germany again too. Not so much so where they have elected another extremist right chancellor or yeah, chancellor or party. However, the I don't know how familiar you are with German parties, but there is actually currently a party in Germany that Elon Musk also really thought was just the savior of Germany. The AfD, it's the
Mhm.
alternative for Germany. And they are now like one of the most popular parties over there, and it is absolutely insane to me how that's even possible from my own background and bias and stuff.
Yeah.
What's fascinating though, and I actually really agree with you, the psychology of things, I am
Mhm.
super interested in that. And what's really fascinating to see is if you look at maps of like how they voted, it is almost exactly what used to be the what do you call it in English? The East German part, German Democratic
Mm.
Republic
Mm.
that it was until 1990. If you look at a map, it is quite literally the old Soviet Union that is voting in like droves for this party. And it's just, if you think about the background of over there, it's like the things that I've witnessed, because again, my family is from East Germany. Like my grandmother still lives there. A lot of my aunts are still there, my cousins. And the thing that's happened since the 90s is that schools are being shut down. There's less and less jobs. Like they have some of the highest unemployment rates over there. Food scarcity, just having places to live, everything get more expensive. So it's fascinating to see that I mean, it's not only, but the majority of people voting for that is on that side because they have nothing, because
Yeah.
they have not experienced really, having stable jobs and being able to feed their families and all that kind of stuff. So it's always, and I feel like it always comes from that. It's always from a lack of something when people get frustrated and naturally you want to find a
Scapegoat.
thank you.
Right, yeah.
Sündenbock is what came to my mind, which is the same word in German. Yeah, so you're trying to find a scapegoat, and it's almost always the easiest thing to do by,
Yeah.
okay, so who looks different, who acts different, who lives a different life,
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
I'm
you
seeing
know?
that a lot. I started reading The Rise and the Fall of the Third Reich because of everything that's happened. Like maybe this will give
Yeah.
us some clues on how to fix
Hmm.
it. And it really just does come down to propaganda
Oh God,
and
yes.
coming up with some simple tagline that's really easy for people to fall in
Yep.
line with. Of like, we need better jobs. We need to have our jobs not taken from us. Something like
Yeah.
that. And it's just an easy trickle from we don't have jobs and we want to be paid more
Yep.
to well the reason that we aren't doing these things is because these other people are taking our stuff.
Yep.
And I think like it's intriguing to hear you talk about like how Germany is doing the same thing because it's like it if you look at our map, I mean, other than gerrymandering for the most part, like the
Seriously.
South, yeah, the South is voting a specific way for a reason. It's
Yep.
what people were taught. And the education here, from what I can tell at the school that I was at,
Yeah.
we were pushed a lot of stuff about the Nazi regime, but it was at the end. So we didn't see anything about how did Hitler get here? What did he do
Yeah.
before he was here? Like
Mhm.
what, like, so we honestly, though people should be educated on their own, we didn't have a chance. We didn't have a
Yeah.
chance to see it ahead of time, except for the people that lived through it, talked about it, and people don't listen anymore.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. They really don't. And they don't let themselves change opinions. Like that's
Yeah.
what I was saying earlier, you know, like there's so many times where it's just like it's okay that you have a new opinion or that you change what you think by seeing new evidence, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just I just don't get that. Like I just don't get why you wouldn't. Um yeah.
And that's something we've talked about quite a bit on and
Honestly, yeah.
off through, I feel like, even the podcast and our journey is like, because I feel like that's a problem that's like across the board, like on the
Mhm.
left, on the right, everywhere is, and it just, we've created this dynamic a lot, and I'm not like completely blaming the left for it, but I think some of it is to blame, like on more leftists to be like, oh, if you have thought this before, like dead and gone, like canceled, it's over,
Yep.
like, and I think that I know that only makes the divide
Way bigger.
way bigger,
Yep.
because why would anybody who is a little in the middle
Uh-huh.
go to the side that's like, oh, you've done XYZ, I'm not going to welcome you, when the other side's like, you can do whatever,
We
Absolutely.
don't care.
like be as horrible as you
Absolutely.
want, come over.
It, yeah, absolutely. It's just like you said, like I said, I was listening to your latest like the latest episode, you know, it's the same thing in the queer community. You have, you know, 20 trans people over here, you have 15 bi over here, then you have a group of lesbians, but like they're all separated by themselves. But if they were actually all working together, it would be so much more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
And not letting it divide you so much is yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Like it's kind of like going back to like what we were talking about, it being like a world problem. Like
Hmm.
I think at first, even I was one of the people that was like, okay, like America's crumbling, let me find somewhere else to go. But
Hmm.
you
Everywhere's crumbling
you
a little
start
bit.
to see it's like dominoes. People are like, oh, this is accepted here. I mean, right after all this stuff was, I mean, stuff that's been happening with transgender people in our country,
Oh,
then you know England goes and declares, I can't remember exactly what the law they passed, but
yeah.
they a really harsh law against
Yep.
trans people. And we see some countries doing the opposite. I was really shocked and surprised to see that India made a law recently that
Same.
declared, yeah,
That
that
was
transgender
amazing.
people were
Yeah.
valid. So that was really nice.
So for me, obviously, I have German citizenship, and that's exactly what I did too. When all of this stuff was happening first, I was talking to my husband. I was like, "Hey, we probably need to kind of like at least have an exit strategy." But then I'm also like, or you stay and actually make it better. Because if
Yeah.
everybody leaves, then like, okay, cool, then we're just accept then to me it's just like accepting it. It's just like, okay, cool.
Exactly.
Well, it's not I have the privilege. I'm going to go over to this country because I think that's
Mhm.
going to be better. So, yeah,
Yeah.
so for me, for example, I my green card had expired earlier this year and I actually just became a US citizen not even a week ago
Aw.
for that reason because every time I told somebody I was like, hey, I'm getting ready to go take the oath and then I'm going to be a US citizen, and the reaction from people, especially in like my own community, was very mixed because everybody's just like, why, like,
Yeah, like
ugh,
right
you
now.
think it's a good time? And I'm like, one, yes it is, because first of all, you know, like for me I would feel safer if I actually had citizenship versus a green card.
Yeah.
But that was just the first thing. But then I was also just like, yeah, I do think it's a good time because we need more people. Because, like, what's to me also, what is this country based off of? It's immigration, you know, like we're all immigrants. So,
Mhm.
what better way to continue to remind people of what it's all about than to also become a citizen? So,
Yeah, that
yeah.
is true. And like letting the people who, or making sure that the people who are in true danger, helping them leave
Hmm.
is important, or giving them a space, like
Yep.
making sure they know that they are going to be protected to the best of your
Absolutely.
ability with you. I
Absolutely.
think that is very important, and like doing our best to make a change
Yeah.
or weather it through until somebody who can make a change
Yeah.
does. That is very important.
And
But
I mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
even just being visible,
Yeah,
being
100%.
visible,
don't let them shut us
being
up.
queer, and that's
Exactly.
something like I've been thinking about this a lot the past week for some reason, but just like realizing even the way that it's even seeped into me a little bit, I'm like, oh, I need to like dull my queerness down in
Yeah.
certain spaces, and so I'm trying to even like bring that back out and be like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be loud, I'm
That's
gonna be
kind
queer.
of also to just cycle back to artwork, right? That's exactly why I mean, I do try to focus on pride events, but when I go to like any other regular events during the year, I bring all of it because
Yeah.
at first I was the same way because I was just like, yeah, I don't think I should bring that because like maybe that's just a little bit too queer, a little bit too gay, a little bit too much into your face. And then now I'm just kind of like, no, it really needs to be seen. And like
Yeah.
if it's not for you, keep walking. It's fine.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
don't, that's cool.
And
But
I
yeah.
mean, even like, yeah, that reminds me, even when we went to a pride market recently, it was in a little bit of a smaller area. It was in
Hmm.
Greenville. And we were like, like, should we bring our little bit, like, should we hang up our shirts that are more punky and say like
Yeah.
slut on them and things like that? Like,
They
is it
didn't
going to
say
be
slut.
too,
They said top, bottom, fag, and everything
and,
like that.
oh, yeah, they didn't say slut. They said top, bottom, tag. And I was like, is this too much for like a pride
Yeah.
festival? But then there were so many people that were like, I saw the shirts and I
Yeah.
had to come over here and like every single one sold. And so,
We did still have like two,
okay, but a lot of them
it
sold.
did also give us motivation because like at sometimes we're like, well, we have so many things going on. Like we have the magazine and we have all the events that we're planning and we're doing the podcast. And so
Yeah.
it's like, do we need to take time to do the shirts and stuff like that? And then like I think that kind of helped. We're like, yeah, we really should.
That
Those were
is
fun.
honestly, I really feel like that a lot when I think about things to bring and whatnot. And it's like for me, I do still have a little bit of like reservation sometimes. Sorry, I have to plug in my computer real quick. I still have reservations sometimes because I curse a lot but my artwork literally it's all kind of like cheeky more so, which I do still really like, but sometimes I have a hard time when like a vendor event says that it's like family friendly and I'm just kind of like, okay, but like what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Because I have a sticker that says sounds gay I'm in, and it's very rainbowy, so children are like drawn to it. And so like to me, yes, it's an appropriate sticker for anybody, really. But like I oftentimes see parents and being like, yeah, maybe not that rainbow. How about this one? And I understand that too because I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe I don't know, I really don't know, but it's just there's definitely always like a little bit of a voice in the back of my head where I'm just like, am I too much for that?
No, I feel like this is where that one song comes in where it's like, if you want less, go find it.
Yes.
Like let them tell you that it's not right. At this
Yep.
point, it's like I'm not gonna assume because we deserve the space. We all deserve that space. I'm
Absolutely.
not gonna assume what we can and can't bring.
Hmm.
If you come over and you say you're the lead or whatever, and you tell me that something is inappropriate, explain why.
Right.
Tell me why. Is it
Yeah.
because it's a gag? Okay, I understand that is a slur. We will. Okay, but if it's like, oh, it says queer on it,
Yeah.
fuck you, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, and
And
that's kind of this year. That's kind of where I have like started to like that's what I've been thinking lately because I'm just like, really, like, does it really matter? Because
Yeah.
sometimes, because I think the thing for me is because it's going to be that one event. So I did 1 year of the Whirligig Festival, obviously very conservative rural area, but I brought a lot of the rainbow stuff, lots of the gay stuff, and there was this one girl with her mom. Her mom was literally holding one of the Republican like just like newsletters in her hand. Like I could tell that she was kind of like but this daughter, I really don't think she was out yet, but I think she was definitely part of the community. um Chose like the three least gay looking stickers, and the little smirk on her face made me so happy. And her mother's kind of like unapproving look also made me happy because I was like, oh, you don't even know yet how much this actually means to her right now. Like seeing
yeah,
somebody like that at like this, small town festival probably meant the world to her. So like for me, I'm just then that's how I kind of like motivate myself to be like, no, 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 you're going to bring that anyways.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
but
And
yeah.
it's like you have to. You're also counting out the other people, before giving them a chance too.
Yep.
And I think that's something I have to remind myself just in my day to day life. Like let me also not do the same thing and then just profile
Yep.
people and assume because they look or act a certain way that they're not going to understand me or they're not going to vibe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that also comes right back to what you were saying earlier. It's like letting people change too. Letting
Yeah,
people,
exactly.
learn that, oh, we're not pedophiles or whatever, like
Yeah.
whatever the extreme opinion is in the moment,
Mhm.
Um, like letting that happen also, I do like it's also very, very important because otherwise you're just making bigger rifts between people.
And we are getting close to the hour mark as much as I wish we could continue
Yeah,
this
this is a good
conversation
conversation.
forever because I feel like I could keep talking.
Same.
Is there anything that you wanted to touch on that maybe we didn't touch on? Anything you want to plug that's coming up?
So I don't think I mean, like I have events not until September again, but if, like Holly Springs is having their first Pride event this year, I think that
Oh.
would be a really great way for people to come out and show up because like I said, it's their first year, so I think everything's going to be still very much like, you
Mhm.
know,
New.
deer in headlights situation. um, but yeah, so I'll be there, and then obviously there's going to be Greensboro Pride, and then also Durham Pride in the same month as well. And I'll be at all of those events. So if people want to come say hi, that'd be amazing. I love meeting people.
Um,
So
yes.
yeah.
And what are your socials so people can find
I
you?
am Das Letterhaus everywhere. So it's DasLetterhaus.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Yep. And that's the
Well,
website as well, dasletterhouse.com. I think Instagram and Threads and Facebook are all Das Letterhaus.
thank you so much for sitting down with us. This
Thank
has
you
been
so
amazing.
much for having us. This was a great conversation. Loved
It
it.
really was. Thank you.
Yeah.
It really was. Well, good luck on all your Pride festivals
Yeah.
and
Thank
all
you.
the future markets. And
Thank you.
yeah, it was amazing.
Appreciate it. Thanks for all you do. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a really, really good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Queer Vision podcast. Once again, you can find Jule on Das Letterhaus. That is, do you remember?
DasLetterhaus.
US. It's actually
HAUS.
right here on the
Oh,
computer. Yeah. So you can find Jule at DasLetterhaus. That's Das Letterhaus on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, all that fun stuff. And you can also find their products at dasletterhaus.com. All their stuff is hand drawn, as we mentioned before. And they have some really cute stuff. The aesthetic is
adorable.
everything.
It's really adorable.
And yeah, thank you for listening to this podcast. You can find us at queerlina.org on Instagram, as well as Queer Vision Mag and Nasty Queer on Instagram. You can find us on all of our other socials with those as well. And you
And
can
go to
find
queerlina.org for everything. Literally everything. If you don't want to figure out all the things that we just told you, go to queerlina.org.
once again, I am Koe Star or Koe of Kanekalon, and this is your other co-host.
Hi, I'm Becca.
And have a good fucking day.
Bye.
Bye.